Good afternoon to all the amazing, phenomenal women that have joined this summit. Wow, I'm so honored to be part of this really powerful lineup of women. The topic of class and feminism is one that we could spend days discussing, and we still would have only scratched the surface of this extremely complicated set of issues with multiple perspectives, depending on a number of factors, including age, relative privilege, life experience, ethnicity, culture, and so much more. But for the purpose of this discussion, I'll say that if you care about sexism, misogyny, you should care about classism. As a group, women have lesser earning power, resulting in lower economic standing, which results in less power and autonomy in our lives. Women of color face higher rates of poverty than white women and are twice as likely to be in poverty. Many of us are familiar with the statistics that white women earn in the range of 77 cents to the dollar a white man makes. Proportionately, Black women earn approximately 64 cents, and Latinx women earn about 53 cents. Single women have a greater need for a second income than most men. According to the article I read in Everyday Feminism, I quote this: women become more dependent on partners and social systems to meet their financial needs. Single women have a greater need than men for a second income, which means less time for leisure, self-care, and smashing the patriarchy, end quote. Well, that's exactly why we need more women in office. We need more women in office to create legislation that brings about more parity for us. Simply put, caring about class and caring about other forms of oppression are often falsely put in competition with each other to distract us and to divide us for the benefit of the predominantly white supremacist patriarchy that seeks to continue to oppress women, that seeks to continue to oppress poor people, that continues to oppress women, Black and Indigenous people of color, and many other groups for their benefit. We know all forms of injustice are interconnected and can and should be parsed. We can agree or disagree about which came first and which is most harmful, right? We can definitely do that. But frankly, as a Black working class woman, that's not a discussion I have the luxury of simply entertaining on an intellectual level. I do know that we can't understand the oppression of women and non-binary folks separately from class exploitation. Any more than we can understand either of those things independently of racism and white supremacy. Feminism, by definition, is more than simply equal rights for women. Feminism is more than simply equal rights for women, as I said. So what I want to do is I want to quote our esteemed feminist scholar and author, Bell Hooks. Bell Hooks said, "To be feminist in any authentic sense of the term is to want for all people, female and male, liberation from sexist role patterns, domination and oppression," end quote. This statement was made about 40 years ago, and we're still working to achieve parity in power and autonomy in a patriarchal system that feels more threatened now more than ever. A meaningful and effective feminist movement needs to address economic, racial, gender, and environmental injustice together. They didn't happen in the second wave. That didn't really happen in the second wave of the feminist movement. So it is daunting and necessary at the same time, though it is. We see it happening now in more intersectional circles. So it's hard to work, and it's not gonna happen overnight. I think we can all agree on that. It will continue to have to fight every single day. I'm a founding member of an organization, a newly formed organization called Women in Politics in Richmond. We formed this group here after the shocking 2018 city council election that resulted in an all-male city council. 2020, we have an all-male city council. But we are a multicultural, multi-ethnic, intergenerational group of self-identified women who came together last year. We support and promote self-identifying women candidates and allies who share our values for equity in community and beyond. This is significant because as a group, we fundamentally recognize that no ism stands alone. We know we need to reject this lean-in feminism of rich white women who are more concerned with diversifying corporate boardrooms and increasing representation than actually helping the vast majority of women. Poverty, lack of healthcare, job insecurity, the effects of climate change. These things are especially likely to impact women and non-binary folks in general, and Black and Indigenous women and non-binary folks in particular. So what do we need to do? We need to fight to rebuild the labor movement. We need to win Medicare for all. We need a Green New Deal to ensure a just transition to a sustainable economy and good union jobs for all. We need to guarantee housing and free, high quality public education as human rights. These things are popular and they'll benefit the whole working class, especially women and people of color. But if we're going to build a strong movement, we need to address the particular oppressions that historically marginalized groups face. That means fighting against racial, gender, and sexual discrimination and harassment in the workplace. That means defending reproductive rights, demanding an end to deportation and detention of immigrants. That means defunding police and dismantling the system of mass incarceration that locks up Black people at horrific rates. In short, we have to build an inclusive, multiracial, working class movement that truly sees that an injury to one is an injury to all. That's why I'm running for the AC Transit Board, which oversees the public service for 1.5 million people in California's East Bay. Believe it or not, public transit is the heart of struggles around economic, racial, and environmental justice. The AC Transit bus service primarily serves working class people of color. Almost 2/3 of the riders are low income and 75% are non-white. The public bus service has also been a major source of good union jobs for working class people of color. ATU, which is ATU 192, represents the AC Transit drivers and mechanics, have an 80% Black membership. And so, we see here how all of our issues, right, connect. But getting back to public transit, it's currently in danger. Ridership is way down due to the pandemic, and billionaire privatizers and corporate politicians want to use this as an excuse to cut budgets and service. Meanwhile, rideshare companies like Uber and Lyft are working to replace public transit while pouring millions of dollars into Proposition 22 to legalize the shameful exploitation of their workers. All of these things threaten working class women and non-binary people of color most. I'm running for AC Transit Board because the transit workers of ATU 192 asked me to run because they know that public transportation shouldn't be moving backwards in the middle of a pandemic and an economic depression. Fighting climate change and inequality means fighting to defend and expand public transit and to make it free for all riders. And with greed and gridlock paralyzing Congress, we'll need to build a Green New Deal in state houses and city halls, starting with an expanded fare free transit system. We can fund it. We can do it with taxes on corporations and the ultra rich, right? Tax the rich. It's a simple statement that is so powerful and would make such a huge difference in the lives of the rest of us, the 99%. But this fight is bigger than public transit. It's about standing with workers and fighting for the public services that the working class deserves. It's about building a movement to take the ultra rich, to take them on, rather, to take back our wealth and give our planet a fighting chance. This is the kind of feminist movement that we need. I'm so proud to be building it with all of the amazing women speaking here today. I'm honored to have been asked to be a speaker. And, I believe that with this movement, as our sister Barbara said, an anti-racist feminist movement, we can create the kinds of policies that all of us benefit from when we have more working class women in elected office. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this.